$130 million for Puss in Boots. I think it was the first movie, but I'm not too sure what I'm talking about because it says right here, Puss in Boots regular one. But even though I said at the top, Last Wish, which you can't see, that's a really good amount of money to make a movie. The problem is, nowadays most movies are costing like $200 million to make and about $200 or so million in advertising. In order for the future success of the box office, they need to do one of two things. I thought about this quite a bit. This isn't just like something I just thought up at the last second. I thought about this for the past week or so with the fails of the Disney movies, the MCU movies. Now with Puss in Boots, it looks like about the same amount of money it took to make the first one. So, with that being said, it's going to make its money back. I'm sure of that. When people see the movie and word of mouth and yada yada yada, it'll be a good time for all. But when it comes to like Disney MCU stuff, oh man, these movies cost too much money to make, and I'm guessing that's because the actors and the staff, in the general, are pretty greedy with their money. Do they really need to make in like all that money for these movies? Well, studios, producers should be giving the actors and the directors and staff and say, because the box office returns, the predictions are not as high as it used to be. We can't guarantee like over $1 billion per movie. Close to it, like 900K, maybe 800K. We can't guarantee the big money for the movies. So if the movies cost $200 million to make and $200 million for advertising, and then in the end you'll make like $700 or $800 million, maybe even 900 if it's actually a good movie. Somewhere in between that, something has to get cut. So I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking. The first thing that's going to go is the advertising budget. Instead of advertising 6 months ahead of time, 3 months ahead of time. That'll cut the budget in half. So you get the same quality $200 million picture. You get to pay everybody on staff the same thing that they're used to. But the advertising budget needs to be cut down in order to save money. They got to rely on YouTube and word of mouth via YouTube or things like that in order to cut down. You still put posters out there, you still put billboards, that kind of stuff there. But you cut the budget in half. Maybe not in so many places, maybe not as big of a billboard. I'm sure like the ads during the trailers before a movie, that'll get word of mouth, the movie. So cut the amount of advertising in half. So put that into the 100 instead of the 200 stuff. If they can't do that, if they need to advertise for a long time to get it into our minds, the movie's coming out, what they should be doing is that you should cut the salary of the actors and the staff in half. Trust me, they're not going to miss it. Cut it in half. And if the returns are large enough, they get a monetary amount in their accounts. Let's just say like 5 to 10% of the box office budget opening weekend or whatever, or maybe through the lifetime, but mainly opening weekend goes into their account after it comes out. So they can't pay them up front their money, but they get a portion of the box office weekend money off tops. So let's just say, for example, Thor and his daughter, Thor and the daughter, the next movie, whatever, right? Thor and the daughter. The next movie comes out, and they don't think it's going to do that much. So instead of paying Chris Hemsworth, $50 million, you pay him $20 million, as if a human being needs that much fucking money. You pay him $20 million to do the next picture, and if the movie on the opening end of the weekend, if it does well, then he gets like a nice little bonus kickback. Let's just say he gets, and the movie's projected to make like opening weekend. A good number for a Marvel movie nowadays is about $150 million. I think that usually that's pretty good. Usually that's pretty good. If it makes $150 million, then Hemsworth gets 20 or 30 on top of that one. But in order to get the movie out, it needs to make that money. So if the movie is not good and they don't want to see the opening weekend or whatever, then Chris Hemsworth only gets like 10, 15 million, something like that on the opening weekend. And same thing with the other people on staff. They get a percentage. They get a percentage of the opening weekend, and then maybe second weekend they get something else too. The third weekend, then the studio makes money off top of that. So if the movie has replayability, that could do wonders as well. So the point of the whole thing is the actors aren't being paid all the money off tops, but the movie has to be good. This is what I'm saying. The movie has to be good. It can't have like some studio agenda because someone's daughter or someone's son is LGBTQ, XYZ, LMNOP, ASM, FR, NSFW. No, none of that stuff there. If the studio wants money again, they're gonna have to make the movie good and not shove in that rainbow agenda that they're doing nowadays. The movie has to be good. That's it for now. Black off.